Hello everyone, I'm Samantha Fang.
I'm Natalie Lowe.
And I'm Hazel Wong. Today we're going to introduce to you plants in the tropical rainforests and deserts. The tropical rainforests and deserts are located along the tropical region and the subtropical region over there with the green highlights. So what are the differences between the desert and tropical rainforest climates? For temperature, both deserts and rainforests are located in the tropical and subtropical regions. Deserts have a wider range of temperature because there is no vegetation, nor are there any clouds to shelter it from the heat or keep it from escaping. Tropical rainforests have a smaller range as they have plenty of trees and clouds. In deserts, as said before, there isn't much shelter, so the sun is just shining overhead consistently. While in the tropical rainforest, the tall trees block out the sunlight. Therefore, it's pretty dark at ground level, but it's still pretty bright up there above the treetops. As for humidity, in deserts, it's too hot for much water to exist, but in tropical rainforests, that warm air holds more moisture, so it's very humid with a high relative humidity every day. For wind, the open landscape of deserts allows for stronger winds. The abundance of trees, vines, undergrowth, and the moist air in rainforests makes it harder for wind to blow. The wind is stronger higher up in rainforests though, as things are sparser and the flow of air can move faster. For soil, in deserts, the soil is pretty dry and are called aridizals, but they are full of minerals and plants can grow as long as there's rain. Rainforest soil is very deep and having collected over the centuries, but just the top layer, called the litter, is the most it's the fertile soil. The deeper layers are infertile, as decomposed remains of animals and plants only are at the top. Okay, rainfall. Deserts predictably don't have much rain, but when it does, it can rain a lot. These are called flash floods. Rainforests, on the contrary, don't stop raining. The heated ground warms the air, causing it to rise and bring moisture along with it. The higher it gets, the water condenses and turns into clouds, which then fall as rain, that's quickly evaporated again. There are different kinds of deserts and rainforests. For deserts, there's the high-pressure desert, which are near the equator where the air rises and sinks, causing high pressure and no clouds to form. The rain shadow deserts are behind mountain ranges that cause the rain shadow effect. Inland deserts are way too inland for moisture to be brought by coastal winds. The coastal deserts form along the western coast. These deserts have fog because the air that blows inland condenses when it's too cold in the morning. For rainforests, there's the lowland rainforest, which are your classic ones. Montane rainforests, which are on mountains in the tropical region. They are cooler but still damp and has lots of clouds. The mangrove rainforests are along coasts. The trees there have special roots that stick up from the swampy water to suck in oxygen. The flooded rainforests are just flooded.
Now let's talk about the features and characteristics of desert plants. As there is little rain in the desert plants are adapted to survive the dry and hot conditions. Desert plants have adaptations for collecting, saving, and storing water. Desert plants are generally less diverse than rainforest plants, as few plants are able to adapt to the dry environments. There are mainly two types of desert plants: xerophytes and phreatophytes. Phreatophytes are plants that have a deep root system in order to draw water from the near water table. On the other hand, xerophyte plants are plants that undergo changes in their structure in order to best conserve and store large quantities of water. Now let's talk about the roots of desert plants. Some desert plants have deep roots because they need to stretch their roots in order to draw water from the near water table. The water table is the water deep underground on a layer of earth, while others have shallow root systems that spread wide beneath the ground to rapidly collect as much water as possible when it rains. Others have special roots with bulbs or tubers. Desert plants generally do not have leaves. Even when they do have leaves, they are small and tiny. Most of the plants in the desert don't need big leaves because sun is plentiful and readily available. Plants can lose water through leaves via a process called transpiration. Smaller leaves and highly modified leaves like thorns reduce the number of stomata on the leaf surface, which means there are less pores for water vapor to escape and can reduce water loss. Most desert plants also have spines to protect them against animals that would eat the plant for water. Some desert plants, such as cacti, have thick bodies that are adapted to store lots of water. A cactus stem has fleshy tissue that soaks up water, and a waxy coating that helps seal in moisture. As the cactus uses up its store of water during prolonged drought, its stems, for example the pads of a prickly pear, start to look drawn and shriveled. As it soaks water into its tissues following a rain, its stems regain a more swollen look again. Desert plants often grow slowly, metabolizing at a pace requiring less energy and less water. Some desert plants rely on dormancy in order to survive. The seeds of these plants remain in the soil until moisture arrives, encouraging them to germinate. They generally bloom only once or twice a year for a short period of time. Flowers open at night to attract pollinators, who are active during this cooler time. Now, here are some examples of interesting plants found in tropical deserts. The saguaro cactus can only be found in the US. It has a very thick stem for water storage and shallow and wide roots. The mesquite bush has really deep roots to reach underground water and can grow really tall. The creosote bush is a shrub-like plant with pointed waxy leaves. The welwitschia only has 2 leaves which soak up moisture from the fog.
Tropical rainforest plants. General information. Introduction. Rainforests have far more diversity than deserts. More than 60% of plant species are found in tropical rainforests. Diversity of life in rainforests provide a variety of sources of food for animals, and it also minimizes the chance that one particular species of plant dies from insect infestation. Details. There are many different layers in a tropical rainforest. The emergent layer. Rainforest trees can grow up to 200 feet tall. They receive most of the sunlight, and they must survive high winds and storms. For those in a canopy layer, trees can grow up to 100 feet tall. They still receive plenty of sunlight for photosynthesis. In the understory layer, the trees there receive relatively little sunlight. Most of the plants here are epiphytes, which will be explained later in the video. And the layer that's at the bottom is called the undergrowth layer. It faces a lack of sunlight, and plants' growth here is limited. The leaves. Plants in their epicanopy have dark green leaves which reflect light. Many of the leaves have a thick waxy layer on their leaves to reduce water loss due to the intense sunlight in the emergent and canopy layers. Plants have long drip tips on their leaves. They can direct water off the end of the leaves, reducing the standing water that could provide a habitat for fungi, bacteria, and epiphytes. The trunk and the roots. To help withstand the high winds, many trees have buttressed trunks. The root extends from the trunk, and the root structure also expands the area from which the tree can absorb water and nutrients. And shallow roots can help retrieve the nutrients from the top layer of soil. Grow still or prop roots give support, characteristic of tropical palms growing in shallow, wet soils. The trees there have a very smooth bark to shed water and prevent ants and other intruders from climbing them. Aerial roots, which cling to the host plant, absorb minerals, and they can also absorb water from the atmosphere. Epiphytes. They are any plants that grow upon another plant or object for physical support in moist tropical areas. They are usually above the ground level, and they receive sunlight in dense shaded forests. Majority of them are flowering plants. Most of the epiphytes are found in moist tropical areas. Interesting plants in tropical rainforests. Steel palms. They move with their steel-like roots to reach for more sunlight and to prevent tall trees from collapsing on them. Lianas. They're really thick. They're the type of plant Tarzan swings on. Bromeliads. They are a type of epiphytes, and they have a bucket to store water in. Strangler figs. Their roots tend to steal the host tree's nutrients. Then the tree dies, leaving the strangler fig alone. Rafflesia is the biggest type of flower on earth. It can be really stinky to attract flies. This is the end of the video. Thank you!